Hi, everybody. It's Georgia Rose from Zencuda, and welcome to the Soul Space. It is Monday, October 21st, 2024, and I am taping this ahead of time in my home office, mostly because I completely forgot I have a speaking engagement this evening for a charity organization that I belong to. And I was planning on being in the studio live, and then last night I remembered, oh, wait, I have a speaking engagement I have to get to. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about astrology, and then we are also going to start our first episode in our 10-week series because there's 10 weeks between now and 2025, and that is all about creating your future. And the reason why I chose to do that is because the astrology right now is so much compelling and pushing us into change that I thought it would be really great for us to get together as a community, support each other on whatever changes we really want to make to our lives. And I thought that if we could get some tips and some support on how to make those changes, it might really make an effect on our life and create a situation where we are really looking forward to 2025 in a whole new way. And we can also make some really big improvements and some really big soul type intentions for the next few weeks. So welcome, welcome. So one of the things that I've been really good at in my life, there's been a few things, some things I'm not so good at, but I will admit and embrace my own uniqueness that I am very good at making change in my life. And I'm still working on that book. My life story will be out there for all of you soon. But what I wanted to say is that I'm very good at making change, some of which is at my own hand and initiated because of things that I truly just want to do in my life. And I've changed, my frequency, or I've changed the things that I like, and I find myself wanting to do things differently. And other times I've had to really, change things because I was forced into situations not of my doing and had to either make the best of them or find a new way to do things. So in the next 10 weeks, I'm going to be doing quite a few tips, I guess you could call them, a little bit of inspiration, motivation on the show that helps you make the changes that you want to make in your life. Now, I do coaching in my private time. You can always book that on zencuda.com. I do coaching, I do astrological coaching, all kinds of stuff. But the thing that I'm most good at is really motivating. And sometimes when we're in a situation where we want to make change in our life and we want to create something different, we can't really see the simple effects of small change that lead to the big change. We want to come in and, put everything new and do everything differently. And we want to do it in a very grand way or in a big grand gesture. And we're really missing out on the journey of making the change and what it feels like and those small accomplishments that keep motivating us to go to the bigger stuff. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, as I do on every show, I just got to adjust my seat a little bit. First, as I do on every show, I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrology. So, as I said, one of the reasons I wanted to do a 10-week series about making change, creating our future, creating change in our own life was because the astrology right now is ripe for change. The astrology is giving us a push. Many of us, and myself included, feel like the things that we used to enjoy are not as enjoyable. Not necessarily in a bad or negative way, just a little bit of dissatisfaction maybe. But I feel like we're changing, and the world is changing and accelerated very quickly to be all kinds of crazy change that are shocking sometimes that we don't expect. But in our own personal lives, I find that the things that we once enjoyed don't seem so full of joy anymore. We want to do things new. We need more excitement. I'm also seeing that even our friend groups, the people that we used to hang out with or that we used to really enjoy conversation with, aren't really cutting it anymore. It's almost like I know for myself, making small talk is excruciating. I really only want to talk about, important things, things that are meaningful. I want to bring my life to another level of meaning. That's really how I've been feeling these last 6 months. 2024 has been a year for me where I've really been seeking deep, meaningful change, and also the correct use of my energy. And so what I'm seeing out in the world and with a lot of my clients is the things that were normal to us, that were just, gratifying, really are lacking now. And I think that's because as a species, us humans are becoming more evolved and our frequency is being raised. And so, in order for us to find things that will make us feel more in sync with others or more joyful in our life, we need things that are more meaningful because our frequency has been raised. And the things that used to be that for us and used to be satisfying for us now aren't that way as much as they used to be because our frequency is different. Think about it. It's almost like a marriage, right? When you meet someone and you're young and maybe you're in your 20s and you marry them, your frequencies are the same and you like the same things. But then as you grow and evolve, your frequencies change. So there's going to be times during that union when you're in sync and times when you're not. And so everything in the world is a vibrationary field. Everything is always vibrating. We have a frequency. So throughout our life, we're going to change because our frequency changes. One of the things materialistically for me was I've always owned and driven very expensive cars. And that's always been one of my joy. And I used to, oftentimes when I was bored or when I was looking for something to do on a beautiful Sunday afternoon or whatever, one of my joys would be taking out my convertible sports car. And I haven't had a convertible sports car now in about 4 years through my own choice. But just the idea of owning one now, like it seems like kind of, I don't know, I want my life to be more simple, more practical. So that's how I've changed. I don't need all the accoutrements, all those items that I used to need. My closets have been cleaned out. I don't have a lot in my garage and my attic is empty. And so over the last few years, I've decided the correct use of my energy is to not have so much stuff. And I used to like stuff. I used to accumulate stuff. I used to enjoy stuff. Now, not so much. And that's just one way my frequencies changed. Another way my frequencies changed is I used to have a tremendous amount of people that were friendly and friendships in my life. And I used to have a very big sphere of people that I knew. And while I still have that, I have a very small sphere of people who are my friends. And I oftentimes will tell people, like, well, they're not my friend. I'm friendly with them. It's a difference, right? Friends are people that know your story, that know, what makes you tick, that you'll go to when you're vulnerable. People that you're friendly with, you have casual conversation with. Maybe they know a little bit about your life. So those are just some of the ways that my frequencies changed. And then, of course, there are very deep and meaningful ways that my frequencies changed. Um, so one of the first steps to creating positive change in your life and activating and executing change is reflection. And you have to kind of go in and reflect on what it is you really want. And I always, whenever I'm doing a project, whether it's personal or professional or in any way, I always create an ideal, right? The ideal is you're shooting for the stars. The ideal is like in a perfect world, this is what it would be. This is what it would look like. And then I work back from that ideal. That's part of my Sagittarius energy because Sagittarian, I'm a Sag rising, and we paint with a big brush and then we go back and fill in the little pieces, right? So we're very broad in our thinking. So for me, the first step to creating change is I think of my ideal. Sometimes when I'm going to sleep at night or when I wake up in the morning, I think if I had no restriction, if money was no object, if geography was no object, if relationships were no obstacle, what would my ideal life look like and where would I live and what would I do and how would I spend my time? And I work back from that. And the reason why that's a great thing to do now is because in the next 12 months, we have a tremendous amount of planets changing signs. And that's going to really shift the energy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrology, and then we'll go back to how we can utilize this to create that change and create our future in our own life. And for the next 10 weeks, every week, we're going to focus on one more thing in the step-by-step instructions of how to really create change and make 2025 one of the best years for change that we possibly can. So whatever your goal is, personal, professional, etc., just know that these guidances in the next few weeks will definitely help you. So this week alone, the sun is going into Scorpio, and that happens tomorrow, Tuesday, the 22nd. The sun going into Scorpio, we will feel an energy shift because from Libra to Scorpio is a very different energy. The sun's been in Libra now for a month, and tomorrow it will go into Scorpio. When the sun goes into Scorpio, it's an energy of more deep thought process, more possessive. It's Scorpio is emotional. It's deep. It's the energy of death and rebirth. Scorpio season when the leaves are falling off the tree and they're going into the ground to create compost, right? So it's the idea that we learn about life through death, that cycle of evolution. That's why it's a great time to start on your changes because we can let the things that we no longer need fall to the ground like leaves in order to enrich and compost the new things that we want to create. So when the sun goes into Scorpio, it's a beautiful time to really think about and contemplate and reflect about how we want to change our life and what we want to grow under the surface to come and bloom in a few weeks. It's also a great time when the sun is in Scorpio, especially this year, because we have a new moon in Scorpio coming in on November 1st and 2nd, depending on where you live in the world. And that's going to heighten the Scorpio energy and give us clues and guidance as to what this energy looks like for us as far as nurturing and how we can use it to further our goals. What do we need to go deeply within and become reflective and introspective about that can show us what needs to come up from the surface, what needs to be brought into the light? Scorpio is an energy of light and dark. We just went through a big eclipse season, and Scorpio energy is an energy that not only gives us the idea of from the darkness comes new growth and light, it's also very symbolic of this time of year when, the plants die off. And where I live, I oftentimes go out to the ocean and the dunes and the greenery around the ocean this time of year is all brown. And you can actually see the season change from that beautiful green color and the beautiful seagrass and all the colors of nature and the surrounding bushes and trees and shrubbery. You can see it all, start to become dormant and brown. But what you want to remember about that energy is that under the surface, there's already new life budding. And isn't that what we have to keep in mind when we activate change in our life? We need to let go of certain things and we can grieve or mourn their loss or the transition of those things. But at the end of the day, those things and the wisdom from them can be utilized to grow new things. So we can take what we need forward and let the rest go to dust, right? And that's really the beautiful season that we're in. The days start to get shorter where I am in the United States, and the evenings start to get longer. So we have more time to reflect in the dimly lit times. The lights come on. It's right now where I'm taping this. It's going on about 4 p.m. and it's just starting to get a little bit dusky here because we haven't changed our clocks yet. And so that's a beautiful time when you want to go home and nest and spend time in deep contemplative reflection with yourself so that you can find out what you need to change. And throughout these next 10 weeks, we're going to learn how to actually activate and execute those changes. So with the astrology now, first we have the sun going into Scorpio just this week. And then Wednesday, we have Mars sextiling Uranus. This is going to be an energy that brings sudden and shocking events. It can motivate us to do things, but we have to really be careful not to be impulsive. On Thursday, we've got Venus and Saturn, Mars and Neptune all working together, playing around with each other. And that's kind of an energy that starts to really get us more into the long game. The energy this week starts out, the sun goes into Scorpio. We become a little bit deeper, more reflective. It can also make us more passionate. And in that passion, it's also going to reveal to us what we need to let go of because we're no longer passionate about, right? So as the days go forward in this Scorpio energy and the sun highlighting Scorpio energy, and then we have that new moon also highlighting Scorpio energy, it's going to reveal to us where the changes of the cycles are coming, where the energy is shifting from things that we used to be super passionate about to, I don't feel that way anymore. What do I need to find that's new? What do I need to create new for my passions to feel? And then later on in the week, as we go to the weekend, we have some really tough energy coming in. But if we stay and remember that this is all about the long game, not impulsivity, not, oh, I have to do this right away. If it's about the long game, these energy shifts can be frustrating if we don't contemplate them that way. If we contemplate in a more impulsive manner, they can really come through as, oh, I need to do this now or else. And we can get anxiety. Try to stay out of that and realize it's a long game. If you have certain things that you want to change and things you want to tackle that are household projects, maybe you have a garage to clean out or a really cluttered basement or something, and you're thinking about moving geographically. And so you want to have these things all, buttoned down and get rid of the clutter. Just remember, you don't have to do it all in a day. It took you 20, 30 years to get the clutter. It might take you a couple of months to get rid of it. There's no pressure in this energy because it can be like a powder keg, this energy. I'm not even going to go into this week with the elections coming up because there's going to be so much stuff going on that it's going to be very, very unpredictable is all I'm going to say. But getting back to our own personal change, if we think about the long game and be more methodical, we're really going to be much more successful with the changes we want to inflict in our life. When we try to do things impulsively, we disappoint ourselves because there's no way to live up to a certain expectation that we're going to, pack 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag or pack, a job that takes 48 hours into an afternoon. And then we end up walking away and never finishing. So remember, give yourself time. If you have something that feels really overwhelming, this is an energy astrologically where you want to bite it off in little increments. Using the analogy of the garage or the clutter that you have to clean out, you're not going to tackle it in one day because you're not going to find solutions in this energy. This is an energy with all of the planets that we have moving around in a very volatile manner. This is an energy where you want to do things very methodically and slowly, and that will make you feel more productive. So instead of trying to clean a house out or a garage out in an afternoon, make a commitment to yourself that whatever your garbage rotation comes or every day, you're going to put 2 items at the curb. And you'll be surprised how quickly it's going to start to get less and less and less. But you have to do it in increments. And every day, tell yourself, I'm cleaning out the garage. I'm working on cleaning out the garage. I'm cleaning out the garage. It's happening. Look, I got rid of something today. And stay in that really, really positive reinforcement. And that's something that this energy is really supportive of, whether it's a diet, an exercise routine, a decluttering, whatever you want to change that is a daily habit in your life. That is the energy and the way to work with it right now. It's very supportive of changing those things, but in small increments. It's really all about the long game. So Wednesday is a very feisty day this week. I will tell you that. We've got the moon and Mars opposing Pluto, which is a very complex and intense energy. So it may be a setback day, it may be the day that if you're trying to diet, you eat something you shouldn't, or it may be the day you skipped cleaning out the item from the garage, or it may be the day that, you didn't do something you were supposed to be doing, or you told yourself committed to wanting to do. That's okay, because there's always Thursday. And so that's how I really want us all to approach these changes over the next 10 weeks, is take the pressure off yourself. Don't allow yourself to be in a pressure where it defeats the whole purpose of getting anything accomplished, because that's what we do to ourselves as human beings. And that also has a lot to do with the way that we've been brought up, the conditioning that we've had from our parents and our loved ones. It really is reflective of that energy and the energy of how are we treated as children? How are we judged? How are we being judged in our life right now? That's really how we're going to set the stage for trying to make change in our life, because we're going to judge ourselves and criticize ourselves. So in this energy, you want to remove that. The difference between our conditioning as children and our conditioning as adults when we have to parent ourselves, which is really about what creating change is, learning to parent yourself. You're not waiting for someone else to take your responsibility over. You're not waiting for someone else to tell you that it's time to change. You're doing it. You've decided, you've made a commitment. Now you're ready to parent yourself. The difference between that now and when we were children is now we are in control. When we were children and we were told, oh, you have to clean your room, or there was some pattern and tradition set up that you were going to carry forward later in life about the way you operate, right? The way you invoke change, your procrastination level, your commitment to discipline. It's all been formed since you were a child. So think about that, reflect on that, journal on that, because sometimes we have to unwind that coil and rewire the brain in order to affect really important change in our life. This energy astrologically supports us doing that. And that's why I really want to talk about these things. So Thursday, the 24th, after Wednesday being kind of maybe a day where you may have cheated on the diet or maybe slacked on something else, it's okay. There's always Thursday. And Thursday is an anything can happen day. Now that can be negative, it can be positive. We're in control. But what I will tell you is Thursday is a releasing day. All right. We've got Mars sextiling Uranus. We've got the moon also in Leo that day, which makes people want to act out. So my advice is for Thursday, the 24th, I would journal. After being reflective about what habits were created for me in my childhood that are leading to my inability to make change thus far, or are leading to my procrastination or my weakness with discipline, what were the patterns in my conditioning youth? Journal about that, because once you unlock those, change becomes a lot easier. And in the energy that we have Wednesday and Thursday, it's a great day to do that without judgment of yourself and others. Just kind of write down a little bit, how has what I was taught as a child translated now into my ability to make change and be disciplined in my life? You'll be surprised at the answers if you really sit and do that. And then on the 25th to the 28th, we have some energy with Neptune and Mars trining each other, which is going to create a situation where we're not sure if we're spiritual or delusional. Let me break that down. So now, if you've been journaling this week and you've been making your goals, and you've also been doing the work of introspection, reflection on where your patterns for goal making and your patterns for discipline and making change in your life came from, and what you need to change and rewire. If you've been doing that, now when the weekend starts to come, you may have trouble deciphering what's real and what's, your mind thinking it was that way. And what I'm going to tell you about this situation with making change in your life is it doesn't really matter. What you believe is your reality. And in an energy that we have coming in Saturday and Sunday, it's a difficult energy, but the way to use the energy is for healing. So we've got the potential for healing, but it also can be annoying because we still aren't sure what the outcome's going to be. And that's okay. Remember, long game. We don't have to know everything right away, right? When the football players go on the field to play the Super Bowl, they don't know how it's going to go. They're doing it minute by minute. And that's okay because they have a goal, they have a plan, but they execute it minute by minute. Remember that. If you fall off the wagon or you don't live up to an expectation, it's just a moment in time. Cut yourself some slack. We don't care about the moment. We care about the series of moments that make up the long game. And once you really get that under your belt, change becomes easier. So Saturday and Sunday, anything can happen. It is kind of a nasty energy. So it's a great day, and the whole weekend, great weekend, to stay in, be reflective, write your goals down, really think about things, grieve the things that you need to let go of and let them go. Be excited about the things that you want to bring into your life because now you've made room. You've grieved the things that you need to let go of. It's a great weekend for that on the 27th and 28th. This is also a great weekend of overcoming obstacles. Even if it means that you haven't done something physically or in reality, but if you've allowed your brain and your mind to wander enough to understand where the things that are blocking you have come from and how you can make change with them. And a great way to really go in depth of this is to work with me on your astrology. And if you want to do that, you can reach me at zenkuda.com. So that's how the astrology is going to play out. There's a lot of squares this weekend, and squares are challenges. But what I will tell you is that squares in the chart also mean we have a great opportunity for healing, understanding, compassion, and getting things to move forward, releasing. This weekend is a huge release point for us. And that's why it's a great weekend and a great week to start the process of making change in our life. Because we've got release points, we've got squares showing us where the challenges are. Once they're in the light, we can work with them. When we don't know what they are, when we don't know what our blockages are, we can't really fix them or rewire our brain for them. So that's the energy of this week. And it's really conducive to healing, making change. And the other reason why, just looking at my notes here, let me find them. Somebody's calling. Sorry. The other reason why it's great for making change is because between November and 2025, like I'd say the middle of 2025, around July, almost every outer slow-moving planet is going to change signs. Now, when a planet changes sign, you can feel it. The energy switches. It's palpable. Like this week, the sun going into Scorpio, you're going to feel it. You're going to be more contemplative. You're going to want to reflect more. That's why it's a great time to use the energy, Leslie. You're also, if you're in a love triangle or if you're in a volatile relationship, you know, a situationship, you're going to feel possessive. You're going to feel jealous. You're going to not be so laid back. You know, Sun in Libra is all about balance and fairness and diplomacy. Sun in Scorpio, not so much. Sun in Scorpio is about, I want it now. I need you. I must have you. I must possess you. It's about possession. It's about abandonment. It's about loss. It's about death, birth. Scorpio energy is an energy of transition, transformation, metamorphosis. It's a very intense, complex, beautiful energy, but it can also be repulsive. Scorpio is the scorpion burying itself in the dirt so that it can be self-defensive. And it's also the phoenix rising from the ashes. So what better time to start a self-improvement project, a life improvement project, changes in our life. So in the next year, these are the way the planets are going to change. Now, November 19th, which is coming up in 3 short weeks, 4 weeks maybe. Yeah, just over 4 weeks. November 19th, Pluto goes into Aquarius. It has been in a Capricorn since 2008. You've been hearing me talk about that ad nauseum for the last 2 years. Pluto going into Aquarius is a huge, big, fat, hairy deal. It is. It just is. For those Aquarians out there, you're going to have deep, deep change in your life. Not easy, but change. You're going to welcome it. It's going to be wonderful. But as you're going through it, maybe not so much, but that's okay. Pluto in the chart is the soul. Pluto shows us the desire of the soul, and it shows us what we have to transform and where we have to learn our lessons and make deep metamorphic change in order to live our soul's intention. When it changes signs, it's a really big deal because it's going to change the whole culture. It's generational. Pluto stays in Aquarius until I believe it is, hold on one second. Yeah, I believe it's like something like 2040 or something like that. So it's a long time. All right. So it's generational. You know, I am a Pluto in Virgo person. The people born after me are Pluto in Libra. So it's generational planet. It doesn't move often. If your soul has chosen to be alive when Pluto is in Aquarius, there's a reason that your soul chose that. And there's a reason why this is going to be meaningful for you. So Pluto in Aquarius is all about pioneering. It is about new ways of being and new ways of doing. It's science, it's technology, it's innovation, it's community. It is also exclusivity. You know, where you have community, you also have communities which are very exclusive, not very good, right? So Aquarius has a whole different type of energetic field than Capricorn did. The structures that we saw crumble in Capricorn because it's a destructor of the old way in order to bring in the new. Now in Aquarius, all of those structures will take on new life. You'll see new forms of government, new forms of technology, new forms of currency. It's going to be a very exciting 20-25 year period for everyone. But in our personal lives, it also means that we're going to take on more of that type of energetic field. We're going to want to be pioneers. We're going to want to do things differently. We're going to want to let go and release what really doesn't match our energy field anymore and look for the newness. Aquarius is all about embracing our uniqueness, you know, being in community where everyone is completely different and embracing that. So we have a long way to go in this universe before we get to that point. So you can see the trigger points. You can see that this will be release point, but it's just reeks of change, change, change. And then we also have Neptune goes into Aries. So Pluto goes into Aquarius November 19th. Neptune will go into Aries on April 18th. It will stay there until March of 2039. All right. Neptune in Aries, where Neptune in Pisces was all about elusive and spiritual connection and like everything being very ethereal and hard to describe and boundaries are blurred. When Neptune goes into Aries in April of 2025, it's emergence. It's new. It's individuality. It's fire. So Neptune, the thing that governs our connection and our soul energy and our spirituality and our religious beliefs, which has been in Pisces for a very long time and has created all of this new age, you know, floaty, woo-woo. Now in Aries, it goes from water to fire. And now all of those things that we've been learning, that we've been questioning, that we've been like, is that real? Is that true or not true? Is that like, you know, some kind of a elusive veil? Now in fire, it emerges to be real. It's reality. It's individualistic. Then Uranus, which is in Gemini, has been in Gemini now for a little while, has a little more to go till next July in 2025. Uranus will go into Cancer. And Uranus in Cancer is a really different energy. Uranus in Cancer is more heartfelt. It's going to be awakenings of the heart, right? Whereas in Gemini, it was awakening of more physical structures, money, ruled by Mercury, our communication, right? So think about that. When it goes into Cancer, from taking all the wisdom of communication from Gemini, maybe we're going to be able to speak our heart better. Also, it will make us seem like Uranus in Cancer I'm sorry, Uranus in Gemini. Uranus has been in Taurus. It's going into Gemini. Erase that. I could bleep it out, except I'm actually taping live. July 7th, 2025, Uranus goes into Gemini. I'm thinking of Jupiter in Gemini. Uranus goes into Gemini from Taurus. In Taurus, it was always about the physical aspects, the money, the structures in our life, food sources, more physical things, the earth, right? Sudden shocking things to do with earth and those kind of things. Now, when it goes into Gemini, it's going to shock up our communication. It's going to make us more able and have awakenings to do with the way we communicate with each other. Compared to the community of Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius, that's amazing. And Neptune going into a fire sign so that we can like feel it, touch it, it's real. These are going to be amazing times in 2025 and 26. And then Jupiter goes into Cancer. I'm sorry, I misspoke before. Jupiter goes into Cancer on June 9th, 2025. And that's going to change things up because it's going to expand the heart energy. And then last but not least, in May, Saturn goes into Aries. And Saturn is our limitations. Saturn doesn't like being in Pisces. It's too floaty. There's no boundaries. It's Saturn wants to show where the boundary is. And in Pisces, there are no boundaries. So when Saturn goes into Aries in May, it's going to put the boundaries in place. It's going to show us the fire of our lessons. It's going to be the discipline. It's going to give us the drive. It's going to breathe life and fire into where we hold our boundaries. So really, really different energy circulating in our world. So we need to use that for our own personal change, because as the energy shifts and changes, if we still try to do things the way we always have done them, and we try to have relationships in our life the same way, the same careers, the same habits with money, material possessions, speech, communication, if we try to do everything the same way, and then we go into 2025 and all this energy is shifting, it's not going to work. We've got to change. And the way we've been feeling over the last couple of months is the universe is pushing us towards that energy. The universe is showing us what those changes need to be. We just need to listen. So I'm going to give you a couple of really basic things now that I have given you the philosophy and the strategy of why we want to use this time to create our future and why we want to use this time to create the lives we've dreamed of. Because Aquarius energy, that Pluto in Aquarius, is going to give us the innovation. Jupiter in Cancer is going to open our hearts. Uranus in Gemini is going to make communication like you never saw before. Saturn in Aries is going to set the boundaries that are healthy and need to be set in reality. Neptune going into Aries is going to give us the actual truth about our spirituality, our connections, our boundaries, right? It's going to be more hardened in that energy. So the first thing you want to do is that reflection. Go into a place, set up a sacred space in your home or in your forest or your ocean or wherever you like to go. Whether that's like, I have a space that I won't divulge what it is. It's a public area, but no one ever goes there. And it's like my little space. The sun is beautiful there, and I sit there and I contemplate things all the time. And you could have a place like that, or you could have a little corner in your home. You know, I have sacred space in my house as well. But just 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, go there and think about, who am I becoming? If I stay working in the energy I'm working in, I do the same thing I did yesterday, today, and tomorrow I do the same thing as I did the day before, who am I becoming? Because this is my life. And then think about what made you that way. And what do you need to release and get rid of? Where do you need to allow that energy to just dissolve? As Neptune is in the final degrees of Pisces, it's going to be very heightened energy for dissolving things. Don't let it dissolve your boundaries. Let it dissolve what no longer serves. So this week especially, until we meet again next Monday, and I give you episode 2 of Creating Your Future, go into that reflective space. Release what no longer serves you. Everyone in the spiritual community says that all the time. It's like a buzz phrase. But what I'm going to say is, think about that. Envision it on a platter being served to you. Do you want it? Would you eat it? Does it taste good? Throw it away. I don't want that anymore. Think about what created that energy in your life and take responsibility for your own doing in that. If it's things from childhood that created certain procrastinations, certain blockages in your life that are preventing you from moving forward, then think about that. It happened, right? I mean, I spent a lot of days in my childhood being told and being reinforced that I wasn't good enough. Is that true now? Hell no. I'm more than good enough. So think about it and then ask yourself, well, is this true now? And if it is, you have no one to blame but yourself. Don't go into the blame, just go into the responsibility of changing it. So that's the first step, is that reflection. What am I becoming? Why am I becoming this? What's holding me back? Where did it originate? What do I need to do to change that pattern? And then ask yourself this: what do I want to become? And if you have trouble answering that question, what do I want to become? Then ask yourself this question. And you can play this video back and take notes if you'd like. That way you can speed it up or back it down. Ask yourself this question if you don't know what you want to become, because the answer is going to be in this question. What does freedom feel like to you? What does freedom feel like? Because remember in the top of the show when I said one of the ways that I create change in my life is I go to the ideal. What would my life be like if money and people and relationships and geography were no obstacle? And then I work back from that, because that's how I feel free when I dream. And change has to come from a dream, your imagination, that Neptune in Pisces, because we can't originate a change, originate an idea without imagination. There would be nothing. That's why you have to go into reflection, dream your dream, and then make it reality. You know, maybe my dream is, gosh, if I could live anywhere, I would love to live in a stone cottage in the Cotswolds of England, and with like, two big Wheaton Terriers and a wonderful partner, and I would write best-selling novels. Well, I can't do that because I can't live in England as a citizen and buy property there. They don't allow you to do that unless it's a whole lot of circumstances. But if I wanted to really work towards a vacation home or something that was like that, I probably could. And if I wanted to really stay home and write best-selling novels, I would have to have another stream of income from somewhere. Is that doable? Yeah, probably, if I put my mind to it. So think about your ideal. And maybe that's my ideal, but maybe I would feel just as free if I wrote on the weekends and had a beautiful place in my home that was very British, and I decorated it like a stone cottage and I felt like I was there, and I could write my novels there and my life story and feel free and just be like in my happy place. So whatever you want to create for your life, if it's something more deep and more complicated, I'm in an abusive relationship and I need to get out of it, write what that ideal looks like. And then you fill in the blanks and work back from there. So it's really all about setting up that imagination, that dream, and then we build it into more of a reality. Using the example of, an abusive relationship, maybe one of the reasons why you procrastinate and stay is because you were told as a child that you weren't worth anything. Is that true? No. So you have to work on that. And that's a long process. Maybe you stay because of financial reasons. And maybe there's something that you can do about that. Maybe you can get a job or try and get out from under, or maybe there's someone who could help you, or maybe there's a safe place that you can go to. Maybe your fear is holding you back. If it's a job that you need to change, what is it that's holding you there? Is it your belief system? Is it financial pressure? What is it? Because it's not the physical changing of the job you need to work on. It's the thing holding you to it. So remove the pressure from that, and every day do something towards that, right? Every day do something towards that. It's the small steps. Remember, long game, long game. First step is spending time alone. Who am I becoming? What does freedom look like to me? And then every night when you go to sleep, you're going to reinforce that and you're going to picture that. And now I'm going to give you the practical part. That's all the mindset. But there's also a practical part that joins into the mindset, which is very, very important to do. And the reason why I didn't give you these simple things first is because if you're not in the right mindset, it doesn't matter. You've got to do the reflection part and the dreaming part and the regression part of where did this actually come from? Where does my procrastination habit come from? Where does my lack of self-discipline come from? You've got to do that part first, because if you don't get the right mindset, you can't accomplish anything. I have sales agents who sometimes will spend a tremendous amount of money with a coach, and the coach is going to tell them, make 20 calls a day and call them every day. Did you make your calls? Did you make your calls? And what I can tell you is they're wasting their money if their head's not on right. If you don't have the proper mindset, it doesn't matter what action you take. It's not going to bear fruit unless you have the right mindset. So here's a really, really simple way to get yourself in the right mindset. Get up an hour early every day, an hour earlier than whatever you're getting up. And I know for some of you that's going to be early. I get up at 6 a.m. every day. If I started to get up an hour early, it would be 5. I could do it. Get up an hour earlier every day and do something to move energy. What do I mean by that? Move your body. If you go to a gym, go to a gym. If not, put on some wonderful music and dance around your living room for 10 minutes. Do push-ups, do sit-ups, do a walk around the block, walk around your property, walk to the corner and back. Every day, get up an hour earlier and move the energy. When we don't move our body, we stay stagnant. We don't change. It's very hard for us to affect change if energy is not moving in our life. If you're sedentary, I guarantee you're going to be on the same couch a year from now. So wake up an hour early and move your body. Even if that is something where, you love the sunrise, you love whatever, and you get up and you just go to the local park and you walk around once, twice, you take 10 steps. I don't care. More than what you're doing now. Get up an hour early and move your body. And next Monday, I want to hear your comments of the people who've done it, because something so simple changes your whole world. And I'm talking from personal experience. Now, for some of you, this is going to be more difficult than others, and that's okay. You don't get special rewards for the level of difficulty, but you should give yourself compassion if things are more difficult for you than another person. Because remember, Pluto going to Aquarius, we're going to embrace our uniqueness. We're going to embrace our individuality. We're all different. We can support each other and not compare. That's the way it's going to go for the next 10 weeks here. So remove the pressure, take small steps, remove the manipulation, okay? Because we manipulate ourselves based on the way our nurturers and caregivers as children manipulated us. All right, just remember that. You'll know what I mean when you start going into your reflection. And spend time alone and reflect. And that will really help us all. Next week, I'm going to be back with episode 2. I'm going to, in the comments, put what I'll put a post on my Facebook page, Zenkuda, what our little bullet points are for this week. And every week we're going to grow with it. And I hope you do this with me. I am actually working on some things in my own life, which I may reveal to you as we go. But right now I'm keeping them to myself. And then the other thing I'm going to leave you with is this. Whenever we're trying to manifest change in our life and we are trying to create a future, one of the things that you want to do is kind of keep it to yourself. Because what happens is people put the whammy on us. It's not that people wish us ill. They don't realize they're doing it. I do it myself. You do it. We see someone and they've gotten something beautiful or something really great has happened to them, and we're truly happy for them. But then as we drive away in the car, we think, why didn't that happen to me? We just put a whammy on them because we're not that happy. That's human nature. It's the human, psyche. It's our human way. But that's why I don't tell people what you're trying to manifest, because the negative energy can find that. You can tell them about it afterwards. I always say, do things quietly, and that way they have all your focus. When you start talking about them a lot, you take the focus away from the actual doing, and it goes on to something that is not about executing the plan. Now you're distracted because you're telling everybody about it. So really stay in the zone. I have a razor sharp focus when I want something and extreme discipline. I'm a Jupiter, Saturn, and Cap. So second house. So I have focus, unreal when I want to change something. But I know from experience when I start telling people all about it and, I'm going to do this. And, did you see what this? My focus gets scattered because I'm not in my focus. So get your energy frequency up and stay in your energy field. For the next couple of months, it's going to be a beautiful place to be. And I can't wait to hear your stories. It's going to be great. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments or just, message me directly on Facebook. And you can always email me at connect@zenkuda.com. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. This video will be up on there. It's Zencuda on YouTube. And I will be back live in the studio, I promise, next Monday at 7 o'clock for episode 2 of Create Your Future. They always say, psychics always say, the best way to predict the future? Create it. Bye-bye, guys. I'll see you next Monday. Hi, everybody. It's Georgia Rose from Zencuda, and here is our beautiful new website, zencuda.com. So I want to show you a little bit and give you a tour of this beautiful site that we have. And everything is all in one place now, and you can do everything Zencuda right on our website. So when you log into the homepage, there's a little space here where you can go right to Zencuda Astrology, online classes, or book a reading or coaching session with me. Not only do I offer astrology readings and coaching sessions, but I also do tarot work and all kinds of things to help you get in touch with your own soul space and living Zencuda. There's also a place here where I describe my journey and what it was like for me to actually found the Zencuda community and be able to bring you all of the healing techniques that we do and the philosophies of evolutionary astrology, spiritual wisdom, and yoga. And you can read about what my journey was like. And in addition to that, if you go on to book a reading, you can actually book a reading for any session that you really would like to have. For instance, a 1-hour astrology chart reading, a tarot card reading. I also do synastry chart readings for couples. And I can also do a long distance healing meditation and Reiki session. And you can even purchase our Circle of Light Oracle cards, which were created by myself in order to put healing and light into your day. If you go back up, there's also a space where we're going to be putting our online classes. Those will be very, very soon. If you'd like to be informed about those online classes about astrology and spirituality, yoga, all sorts of things, you can join our wait list and just give us your email and we'll be sure to let you know exactly when classes will be starting. And this button here brings you right to the Soul Space podcast. You can now watch the Soul Space live or past Soul Space podcast right on our zencuda.com page. You can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube and enjoy every minute and never miss a show. So I hope you'll look at this beautiful website. I'm also writing blogs about my journey, and we're in the process of importing all the older blogs that I've written in the last 5 to 10 years right on our Rose blog page, which is my beautiful blog. And you can, anytime you want, just come in and read all about my own journey to finding Zencuda. If you want to work with me in a small or large group, or book me for reading, or doing a gallery style reading, or a public speaking event, or even a retreat, you can do that on our Work with Georgia page. And hopefully we can help you create your future with some coaching or some astrology workshops. So that is our beautiful zencuda.com site. I hope you'll be on there. We're also developing a space for community on there where you can learn more about astrology and spirituality and all kinds of things, and we can support each other on our beautiful, beautiful journey to finding our own soul space and living Zencuda.